So, Joe Biden told a story the other day about his uncle. And his uncle wanted a Purple Heart. And his father told him, hey, now that you're VP, you might be able to get this done. He joined he joined the military because of Pearl Harbor, Battle of the Bulge, blah, blah.
You know, my dad, when I got elected vice president, he said, Joey, Uncle Frank fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He was not feeling very well now, not because of the Battle of the Bulge, but he said, and he won the Purple Heart. And he never received it. He never got it. Do you think you could help him get it? We'll surprise him. So he got him the Purple Heart. He had won it in the Battle of the Bulge. And I remember he came over to the house, and I came out, and he said, present it to him. Okay, we had the family there. I said, Uncle Frank, you won this, and I went to peace. He said, I don't want the damn thing. I'm serious. He said, I don't want it. I said, what's the matter, Uncle Frank? You earned it. He said, yeah, but the others died. The others died. I lived. I don't want it.
So how do you get away with stuff like that? I just don't, especially the president. Because they always talked about how Trump lied. When Trump exaggerated or lied, it was, I have the biggest crowd in the history of the world. That kind of lie. There were 100 million people at this rally. Well, obviously he's exaggerating. And that would drive the left crazy. He's a liar. He's not honest. But Joe Biden tells an entire story, detailed lies. It's not an exaggeration. His father was dead. His uncle was dead at the time he was vice president. He lied and said that his father told him one day, and I'll play what he said. Okay, so none of that's true. So you guys spent 7 years, including the primaries, of calling Trump a liar. And this guy gets up on stage and just flat out lies. He did it again.
And, you know, I think that there's I've been in and out, not as obviously combatant, but in and out of Afghanistan, Iraq, and these areas 38, 39 times. Not as president, only twice as president, but from the time I was a senator, but particularly when I was vice president.
And now, our wonderful Senate took Pelosi's bill, and they're about to try and pass a $1.7 trillion bill, which is just the budget, which means this is the basic allocation of money. $1.7 trillion. What's in the bill? Well, it's 4,000 pages. The King James Version of the Bible, you know how long that is and how thick that is. This bill is longer than the Bible.
I brought with me the Omni, 4,155 pages. When was it produced? In the dead of the night, 1:30 in the morning when it was released. Now, people argue that it's conservatives' fault. You don't have the Christmas spirit. Somehow you're holding up government. Well, whose job is it to produce this? The people in charge of spending, the people in charge of both of the parties. When did they know that this would be necessary? Well, it's in the law, September 30th. You got 9 months, almost 10 months, to produce a plan, to have a spending plan. They weren't ready on September 30th. So they voted themselves 90 more days. They weren't ready last week either. So they voted themselves another week. And now we have it at 1:30 in the morning this morning. But what's the clamor? The clamor is to vote. Vote now. Let's get it done. Why are you standing in the way of spending? Well, the real question is this. What is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to the country? $1.1 trillion in new debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a big win. We're getting $45 billion for the military. So which is more important? Which threatens the country more? Are we at risk for being invaded by a foreign power if we don't put $45 billion into the military? Or are we more at risk by adding to a $31 trillion debt? I think the greatest risk to our national security is our debt. The process stinks. It's an abomination. It's a no good, rotten way to run your government. $6 trillion entity, and they want 24 hours to process this, and then they want to go forward. I will be demanding 2 amendments. One, that this goes against the budget rules. The pay-go rules say you can't do this. You can't have all this new spending unless it's offset. We will also be demanding that the pay-go rules are increased. Instead of taking 60 votes to evade the rules, we're going to ask that it be a 2/3 vote to evade the rules. The American people don't want this. They're sick and tired of it. They're paying for it through the nose with inflation. Adding $1 trillion to the deficit will simply fuel the fires that are consuming our wages and consuming our retirement plans. It's a terrible system. Someone needs to stand up. We're standing up, and we're going to say no.
Are conservatives going through it and saying, you know what? No, we're not passing this. Did Mitch McConnell say, you know what? Let's wait for the next session? No. He allowed Pelosi to put together a heap of garbage. He could have said no, but he didn't. You know why? Because he's a hack, and he's a fraud, and he really, he really needs to go away. Mitch McConnell is worse than the Democrats because we know what the Democrats are. This guy says he's one thing and he's something else. Democrats will tell you who they are. So at least they're honest about doing evil things. McConnell's lying and doing evil things. He got up in front of the world and said the number one priority, actually I'm gonna let you guess, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to talk about what the number one priority of Republicans is. What's your guess? All right, let's hear the real answer.
Providing assistance for the Ukrainians to defeat the Russians. That's the number one priority for the United States right now, according to most Republicans. That's sort of how we see the challenges confronting the country at the moment.
So, according to him, most Republicans want to funnel more money into Ukraine. Now, again, we are well over $105 billion now because they passed another chunk of change. Weapons and cash, cold, hard cash. Bipartisan effort. Now, my last videos, 2 videos in a row, talked about how bad Republicans are and how stupid they are. A lot of it had to do more with voting, but a lot of it also had to do with they're not what they say they are. They're buddies with Nancy Pelosi. They're kissing her on the cheek as she calls them monsters and racists and Hitlerian. But Republicans are either too stupid or 100% complicit in what the Democrats do. $1.7 trillion. The number one priority of Republicans. It's not gas prices. It's not inflation. It's not the economy. It's not that Americans have lost $7 trillion in assets. I'm not wrong about this. Not 1 trillion, not 2 trillion. It's none of that. It's not that you can't have holidays, or you can, but it's going to cost you a lot. Even though the gas has gone down, it's still going to cost you a lot to travel. But nothing changes that this is the most expensive holiday season, Thanksgiving and Christmas, on record. Stuff has never cost more. That's not a priority. Republicans aren't worried about that. According to him, most Republicans want to give more money to Ukraine. That's it. I've showed you video of Lindsey Graham with his little sign. Yay, Ukraine. All that nonsense. I showed you. It's what they all believe. And I'm not literal when I say all. I say all because I mean majority. There's no doubt in my mind that the majority of Republicans are no different than Democrats. They just want to waste money in different ways. And that's what the real fight is over for these people. It's not, there's no morals. There's no ethical stances that they hold. They just want to spend money differently. There's no effort to stop spending money. Because of course, why would we do that? It's yours and mine. It's not theirs. They get paid out of the same bucket. So where the bucket money is spent doesn't matter. Completely irrelevant. There's so much corruption going on that Sam the bank man, he was supposed to testify. And any prosecutor would be salivating watching that testimony. Because they don't have to do any work. They can just let our Congress people ask him questions and let him hang himself. What do? They try to protect him. Why do I say they're trying to protect him? The people involved in that were definitely working with the government. There's no doubt about it. We saw Maxine Waters.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. John Ray III.
Chairwoman Waters.
Presence here today.
Chairwoman Waters, I've not had an opportunity to testify or to question the witness.
I'd like to thank you for your presence.
Chairwoman Waters,
And for the time.
parliamentary inquiry.
Yes.
Are all members entitled to question witnesses?
You are, and if you would like to miss the votes on the floor for everybody.
Hey, it's
just
the
one
chairwoman's
moment.
prerogative to call
Just
a recess.
one moment,
That's
please.
your decision, not mine.
Just one moment, please. You may go right ahead and have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're certainly welcome, sir.
We saw our federal government, instead of allowing him to testify, they just went and picked him up early. Right, but a day or two before he was supposed to testify, and allow him to say what he was going to say and then use it against him. He would not be able to plead the fifth. I mean, I guess he would be able to, but he wasn't going to, because he didn't see anything wrong with what he did. He just thought it was an unfortunate event that lost billions and billions and billions of dollars of millions and millions of people. So he didn't say anything wrong with it, so he's going to speak. He's been doing interviews, guaranteed against his attorney's advice. So why not let him talk? They didn't let him talk. They went and arrested him right before he's supposed to testify. Why? What was he going to tell us? You know my theory. I think he's a plant, flat out. I think the whole XRP thing is going to be settled apparently now. It's over. The government's not going to win. They need another in to get around the fair notice summary judgment that they got. They need another in. And the best way is to have a big scam in crypto so they can say, hey, we need to do something about crypto. And here it is. Sorry, you can't talk. There's no way we're going to let you talk in open session. No way. We're never going to know what happened. They're going to keep everything quiet. It's a total scam. And they're going to control whether or not you think that's important.